9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.
Happy Monday, everybody. This is your Timeless Elite, your PR Princess, Stone Cold Courtney, whatever you want to call me on this Monday edition of WWT Live. For right now, it's going to be just me, but you don't know who is going to show up on WWT Live. And of course, I did not want to miss Monday because we have Madison Square Garden at Monday Night Raw tonight. Obviously, we're wrapping up Women's History Month, but here at WWT, every day is Women's History Month. But very excited. We do have a jam-packed edition for a Monday. You already heard the news from the GOAT himself. Since we're on the road to WrestleMania, we found out John Cena will be the official host of WrestleMania 42 in Vegas. We are just a few weeks out from Las Vegas, people. It's just hard to believe we're just a few weeks out. John Cena posted this on his socials earlier today, and obviously, of course, WWE reposted it, but he will be the host of WrestleMania 42 in Vegas. It's going to be very interesting because we now know, unfortunately, Gunther retired him from Saturday night's main event from in-ring action, but that doesn't mean he can do stuff from outside and promotions or anything like that. But I'm very happy for John on this one. It's going to be very interesting on how this role is going to fade out. What's he going to do? Obviously, of course, he'll be doing the whole show. Also his thoughts as well. I'm very curious on his very different thoughts that he has on different matches, and who knows, he may have a interaction with a few superstars from the back. Maybe Danhausen, maybe Kevin Owens, who we haven't seen in a while, maybe Randy Orton before he faces off against Cody Rhodes. There's just so many possibilities. And shout out to everybody in the chat. Zach Minner, Eric Isaac, Jeffrey. I know John Cena is a host, but Gunther doesn't get anything at WrestleMania. Well, we don't know what's going to happen, Jeffrey, but congratulations to John Cena on the hosting. I know desperate times call for desperate measures because we know with the ticket sales and everything else, they had to bring some of the top guns in the ring. We already know with CM Punk and Roman Reigns, obviously Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, Rhea Ripley taking on Jade Cargill, and of course you add John Cena with the fact of the ticket sales and everything that's been happening, and also because they can't do the radius of WrestleMania, but now they're kind of extending the radius where bars can finally watch pay-per-views. Lots more to cover, but happy to see Mr. No Scene 17 John Cena back in a WWE ring, and this time hosting WrestleMania 42. And hard to believe we're in a couple weeks and we are on the road to WrestleMania. And if you found out last week, earlier today, Cody Rhodes made a pit stop at the Busted Open New York City office. We did make the announcement last Friday that he was going to be on it with Dave LaGreca, Bully Ray, Tommy Dreamer, and Mark Henry. And one of the things that he was asked during Busted Open, he was asked about the bus tour and the price to enter, since the prices have been crazy. He goes on to say, I like all the different takes on what it would take for me to spend that money to go on the tour bus. And then listening, Pharaoh has to be on it. Special guest referee at WrestleMania. There are some fun ones. We did this tour last year very quietly, and it's just a sweet on-location deal for the people that want a little bit of that extra moment. What I did last year was fun. They got to see my WrestleMania gear in advance, and we got to talk WrestleMania. I have a good plan for them this year. It's an absurd amount of money. Gosh, thanks for the fact that people are paying for it. It makes me feel incredible. I want them to feel like they got a unique and cool experience and something intimate with us. When you got those moments with your fans where you could sit down across from them and get to know them. Two of the guys who were on the bus tour last year are coming on my podcast. I wanted to bring a fan on the podcast to see what that is like. We've stayed in touch. I look forward to a new crew this year, and thank you for doing that. Interesting words from Cody himself, because we were talking about the ticket prices last week, where one, it was ridiculous, and two, it's already sold out, I believe, by the way. It's a lot of money. And also, Cody did a quiet thing last year, which I thought was really cool. It was quiet, it wasn't advertised. But now, since we're kind of in WrestleMania season and he's the champion and he's getting ready for his big match with Randy Orton, obviously, of course, it's going to create a lot of buzz. And I'm happy the fans did. Whoever was able to afford the bus tour, they got a good time. I hope they did have a nice little tour around Las Vegas, because outside of the strip, I'm sure there's some places in Las Vegas that you may see, but I beg to differ. And I think what Cody said, the prices are a little bit absurd, which obviously, of course, I mean, people are willing to spend that. They're willing to spend front row seat tickets. Then you have to pay for merch. You have to pay for food. You have to pay for lodging and all the other good stuff happening. But I do appreciate Cody inviting one of the fans on his podcast, and it's going to be a interesting conversation. Jeffrey saying was the green shirt guy on it. I don't know. I mean, Jeffrey, it's a possibility. We see a lot of people who have been in the front row for the last couple years. So that's very interesting there. Shout out to Boza in the chat. I don't know with Cody, but it's a lot of money to put out. I don't think I could put an arm and a leg out for WrestleMania. But for anybody that's coming to Vegas, I'm sure they're gonna have a good time. I'm hoping everything goes well. And I just hope they don't get maxed out or be in too much debt. That's all I'm saying at this point. But yeah, WrestleMania is going to be very interesting these last couple weeks. And of course, we know TKO wants to profit off for everything since WrestleMania is right around the corner, but it's inching closer and closer as we get back to Las Vegas. And also, interesting news, since we were talking about money and we were also talking about holding an account and people trying not to be in debt with everything else. Jinder Mahal. You guys remember Jinder Mahal? He was a former WWE champion. He was in the 3-man band and everything else. And he posted on his Instagram that he is launching a series on finances for wrestlers, starting with a breakdown of retirement account options for independent contractors. He goes on to say in the post, there's a misconception that wrestlers don't have retirement accounts is complete BS. When you're an independent contractor, you will not be receiving a company match. The company doesn't establish your retirement accounts. You're responsible for it. And pretty much he outlined the two options, which is a Roth IRA, which offers tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals in retirement, and a solo 401k, which allow pre-tax contributions that lower your tax liability for the year with significantly higher contribution limits. Whatever you contribute into your solo 401k for the year, you get as a tax write-off. It comes off your gross income, lowers your tax liability for the year, fund your own retirement. And Jinder Mahal goes on to say both accounts can work together and encourage wrestlers to speak to an investment professional. The post applies to U.S.-based wrestlers, whether contracted to WWE, AEW, TNA, or working independently. I think this is a cool thing that Jinder Mahal is doing. And we have talked about this on WWT the last couple of weeks when it comes to stuff like this. I did say if anybody knows Jesse the Body Ventura's contact information, please let me know, because it would be nice to have a wrestlers union so we won't have to worry about stuff like this. And it's really hard when you hear so many stories, especially if you watch Dark Side of the Ring and you heard of some of the stories from wrestlers after they retire. They don't have much income they could fall on. And that's really hard to do. But I'm happy Jinder is making a lot of building blocks and stepping up to the plate, because I do think it's really important to understand financial literacy. And you don't have to be in the wrestling business. You could do it in any industry. My PR industry, we are learning about this. I think this is something of a conversation that definitely needs to continue. And also, I want everybody to have equal play. Everybody deserves to have equal pay regardless of whatever circumstance. And I love that they're testing in the US. I mean, I would love to see it over like in the UK and over in Japan, because there's a lot of dirty laundry happening. But I'm happy this is working for the US and some of these bases, because like I said, wrestlers want to get paid equally. We've seen some of the damages backstage, and I think this is a good opportunity that Jinder Mahal is doing. So kudos to him. I'm very happy for him, and he's really making that effort. So, like I said, if you have Jesse the Body Ventura's information, please send it over to me, because we do need a wrestlers union ASAP. And switching gears, because we talked about Jinder Mahal and as a former WWE champion, and we did talk about WrestleMania. We do have Monday Night Raw happening at the top of the hour from Madison Square Garden as we continue the road to WrestleMania at the top of the hour, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Netflix. We're going to see CM Punk and Roman Reigns in the same building tonight after the commotion that happened last week. Very curious on what's going to happen with these two leading up to their match at WrestleMania. We're also going to have the Beast incarnate Brock Lesnar in the building after what happened with his encounter with Obafemi last week. He's going to have some interesting parting words to say, and also his reaction. And we're also going to have a set of tag team titles happening tonight. We're going to have the WWE Women's Tag Team match, Bayley and Lyra Valkyria taking on, well, we here at WWT call them the Bougie Bullies. Lash Legend and Nia Jax will be defending their titles on the line, and you can expect a banger from these ladies. We're also going to have the men's tag team championships on the line. The Usos taking on the Vision's Logan Paul and Austin Theory. And we're also going to have, and this happened over the weekend, Penta put out a challenge on socials for the Intercontinental Championship, and Kofi Kingston is stepping up to the plate, and we're getting this banger of a match. Penta taking on former Intercontinental Champion Kofi Kingston. And we're also going to hear from Finn Balor after he got kicked out of Judgment Day. We're going to hear some words from him tonight, and very curious on what he's going to say. And we're also going to have these two ladies go at it. Io Sky, Raquel Rodriguez in a street fight. This is going to be very interesting. And obviously, of course, you can expect Stephanie Vaquer and Liv Morgan to interfere somehow ahead of their match. And all this and more is happening at the top of the hour tonight on Raw, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Netflix. And it looks like it's going to be a solid card for Monday Night Raw at Madison Square Garden, one of the most iconic venues in the entire U.S. It's always good to be back in Madison Square Garden. So many moments that have happened. Obviously, one of the moments that people will remember is when Triple H came back from his serious injury and the crowd erupted back in 2002. It's going to be very fun. Also, we did find out reports, and Jeffrey put out too, Roxanne Perez. It's a possibility that the councilman's client, Roxanne Perez, may make an appearance. We haven't seen her since she had to take care of a medical emergency, but she is on a speedy recovery. And here at WWT, we do wish her the best on a speedy recovery. It's going to be very interesting with Roxanne, but I do have a feeling she is going to side with Finn, since Finn was the one that brought Roxanne into Judgment Day. So it's going to be very interesting with the dynamics on when she's come back, since Finn got kicked out. And also Judgment Day is still trying to figure out its ways. Obviously, of course, Liv Morgan, she has her opportunity against Stephanie Vaquer. Raquel Rodriguez is facing off against Io Sky tonight. Dom is the reigning AAA champion. So there's a lot of layers. Jeffrey, I think she wouldn't turn her back on Finn. I don't think so. Also, with the tag team titles, always good to see the Bougie Bullies. Feels like it's going to be very interesting. Also, the men's one, and I think I'm going to say this because this is nothing against the Usos, but after the last couple of weeks, I'd rather have Austin Theory and Logan Paul win the belts. At least they'll put in something meaningful in the men's tag team division, because sometimes people forget Raw does have a men's tag team division. So that's very interesting. But that's a preview for Monday Night Raw. And also shout out to my sister, Honey, because she is in the building for Madison Square Garden tonight. I am super, super happy for her. And I'm very happy that she's able to experience that in the building at Madison Square Garden. And I know the crowd is going to erupt and super exciting. And Jeffrey, Boza, I hate to say this, but like, the Usos really haven't done much since they've been champions the last couple of weeks because they had to deal with Roman. and it's very hard. And I think with Austin Theory and Logan Paul, they can actually do something with those belts and find creativity. I would love for them to face off against Otis and Tozawa, the Creed brothers, the War Raiders. We do have some tag teams in the Raw division, but we shall see on that. But just a quick reminder, because as I said, March is Women's History Month. And even though we're wrapping up tomorrow, right here at WWT Live, Women's History Month is lasting on, and you can spend time on the Women's Wrestling Archive created by our boss lady, TK Trinidad. And we celebrate the past, the present, and the future of women's wrestling.
Women's wrestling didn't just show up yesterday in glitter boots. We've been here the entire time, body slamming through history.
The Women's Wrestling Archive launches 2026, and it's going to pave the way for all women's wrestling.
Because if we don't document it, a man might say he did it first.
This has been a passion project for a very long time. Head over to the womenswrestlingarchive.com to donate 1, 5, or whatever you can. It all goes a long way.
Let's give these women the spotlight that they've always deserved.
Her story belongs in history. Help us preserve it today. Join us at womenswrestlingarchive.com. Support the archive. Support women's wrestling. Donate today.
Support everything for the Women's Wrestling Archive. $1, $2, $3, $200. Any support helps. And yes, Jeffrey, you are correct. Because after what Jay said, saying he doesn't care about the tag team titles, that's why Austin Theory and Logan Paul need to win. At least they'll put a lot more effort into it. But just holding on, since we are talking about Monday Night Raw, and also we were talking about the women's tag team titles, there is a possibility we're not sure if we'll see a particular tag team at WrestleMania, but it's still developing. Nikki Bella, there has been alleged reports, if you saw SmackDown last week, that she seemed to have suffered a leg injury while brawling with Nia Jax after the match between her and her sister against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. And it was popping up on socials that it looked like she appeared to be an ankle injury because she was holding it outside the ring. And also doctors and physicians were checking on her, but hopefully it's not too serious. We already know last Friday night on SmackDown, Brie actually picked up the victory over Alexa and Charlotte after Lash Legend clocked out Alexa Bliss. And then after that, it was a brawl that came in because you saw Bayley and Lyra Valkyria come out. But hopefully Nikki is ready to go. I'm hoping it's not too serious because her and her sister have made a claim that they want to be the women's tag team champions at WrestleMania. So I'm hoping she does recover quickly, and hopefully we wish for her the best. Hopefully it's not too serious, but I think she'll be good to go. I think she will be good to go to WrestleMania. No pressure on that. And do wish Nikki Bella, she is a friend of WWT, a speedy recovery. But this story I actually want to get into because this involves AEW a little bit, and this is floating around over the weekend. Tony Khan, Vince Russo. So this happened over the weekend where apparently there was an exchange, and I think the coach, Jonathan Coachman, was involved. But apparently Vince Russo, if you know from his work in Juggalo Championship Wrestling, it really prompted Vince Russo on Twitter, of all places, to pitch Tony Khan to come on him and the coach's podcast, and especially pitching on social media for the call for the two to work together with the goal of blowing WWE into oblivion. And Vince Russo stated by confirming he has received word of Khan's appreciation of Juggalo Championship Wrestling before making a simple but pointed request. Tony Khan, I got it confirmed on a good word that you really do enjoy JCW. While that's cool and much appreciated, give me a follow back. And then he also shifted to pitch himself as well. And he also addressed the fact that despite Tony Khan being aware of his controversial reputation in the wrestling business, the two have never actually worked together, framing that as an opportunity rather than an obstacle. You've heard about me over the years, but you've never had the opportunity to get to know me. Let's give them something to talk about. And you can find it all on Twitter because it kind of blew up. And then the coach got involved. And it was very, it was very interesting on that. And, as a person that watches AEW, and since I am the PR princess, if I was working, and especially if Vince Russo wanted to look into it, yeah, I think this was kind of really boiled down to the fire because there is a lot of ego, there is a lot of pride, and with the fact too, Vince Russo, you tend to forget, weren't you the person that trashed Tony Khan since AEW first came into the bits, especially when you were on the coach's podcast? That's something that people don't tend to forget. And I think it's something that his PR and media team or legal or whatever really needs to look into this. And also, I'm surprised they don't have a blacklist. And that's something that we did too for a blacklist. Like if we heard of somebody's bad reputation, if they disrespected like a client or somebody or whatever, we would always have a blacklist. So it's very interesting. And also out of all places, I don't think so. I mean, Vince Russo did do great some parts for the Attitude Era, but we already know what he did for WCW. So if I were them, I would not even think about it, especially with the fact it's up on Twitter. You trashed not only Tony, you trashed the overall product of AEW, even though they put on banger of a matches. And yes, they do have inconsistent storylines. It's all about growing. So I don't know. It's just very interesting. And I can't put my 2 cents on it. I may have to do a deep dive on Wednesday, but God help us all. I just think his AEW's PR team and everything else needs to be a little bit smarter. And especially kind of looking at the deep dive on who Vince Russo is, especially if you've been in the wrestling business for so long, you kind of have a good idea. And also, like I said, with the fact too, Vince Russo, you did trash Tony Khan and the entire AEW brand. So if I were Tony, I would not even invite him. Dear God, Jeffrey, don't give me any ideas. I need Vince Russo to say far, far away from AEW. That's all I have to say. You ain't messed it up, AEW. You're not going to mess up CMLL. You're not going to mess up New Japan. You're not going to do that. But I don't even know. But it's going to be an interesting developing story. And it's been popping up on Twitter. So I'm going to be watching closely. And especially with all the RWC narcs of the world. Now, another moment in AEW. And it's fitting because we're getting ready to close out Women's History Month. 4 years ago today, the one and only Toni Storm made her AEW debut, where she faced off against the Bunny in the Owen Hart Women's Cup tournament. I Jeffrey Darby. Oh dear God, don't give him any more. But anyways, 4 years ago, Toni Storm made her debut in AEW, facing off against the Bunny during the Owen Hart Cup Women's Tournament. I'm very happy if you followed my story on how I got into AEW. She's one of the reasons I got into AEW. Just a quick story. I actually got to meet Toni Storm back in 2022. And also with the fact this was after she was released from WWE. She was after she was released, and she did a meet and greet in Philly, and no one came to her table. And I came to her table and I chatted with her for a bit. And, I did talk a little bit about the release, saying, hey, I know it really sucks, but you're going to do great. I think you're going to do well. And she's going to be off to bigger and better places. I gave her a hug, part ways. I got an autograph. And then a couple days later, she was on AEW. And that was really special for me, because seeing that really got me into that with her and the rest of the women's division. Obviously, of course, I have other people on there, but just seeing Toni going through a phase of reinventing herself, redemption from the rock star to now, as people see her as timeless Toni Storm, is just such a blossom. And that's one of the bright spots of AEW. It's one of the bright spots, being one of the top, not just ladies in the women's division, but one of the top superstars of AEW. And that's really, really huge. She's a multi-time AEW women's champion. She topped PWI's top women 250 in 2024. She really accomplished a lot. We just need her. I would love to see her wrestle in the main event of a pay-per-view, which should have happened in the Hollywood ending. Yes, Tony Khan, I'm going to keep saying that, because women need to main event on a pay-per-view in AEW. And I'm going to keep saying it, but it was really something. Yes, she definitely had her best matches. Obviously, of course, even before, in the early parts of Timeless, even before she was Timeless, she put on some good matches. She had some good matches against Jamie Hayter, Thunder Rosa, Hikaru Shida. Like, it's not just Mariah May. Like, I'm still waiting for her, and I'm just waiting for her and Jamie Hayter to run it back, because I think those two have a lot more history and there's a lot more story to be told. But we're still trying to find who attacked Toni Storm. That is the big question, but we shall see on that, and we'll talk more about that on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite. And we do have our final story before we get out of here for Monday Night Raw. I want to send a congratulations to the Inspiration, where they won the Princess Tag Team titles at TJPW Grand Princess event over the weekend. This will be really great. I am so happy for these ladies. And even though people trash them about their squash match against the Brawling Birds, I'm so happy they are taking it to the next level and really focusing and wrestling outside. I think that's one of the good leverage of in AEW, is they get to wrestle in the independents, they get to wrestle overseas, which is very nice to do. And I'm very happy to see them thrive. Very curious on how their reign's going to look like, and hopefully we do get to see archive footage of their victory and even their reign soon on AEW, because they are all elite. But I am proud of these girls. These girls worked very, very hard, and what better way to do it than end it with Women's History Month. But that wraps up WWT Live. So friendly reminders, and Lynette, yes, we do have some women's matches happening. We do have the women's tag team titles, the Bougie Bullies, Nia Jackson, Lash Legend taking on Bailey and Lyra Valkyria. We're also going to have Raquel Rodriguez, Io Sky in a street fight tonight. So we got some ladies matches happening tonight. Also, just a friendly reminder, tomorrow, NXT will be also in New York City. So that is going to be fun as well. Also, a quick reminder regarding programming regarding AEW. Collision will be live this Thursday at 8 p.m. due to March Madness this weekend, they will be on this Thursday. So make sure to DVR, make sure to put a reminder in. It's not on Saturday this week, it'll be on Thursday. But that wraps up Monday's edition of WWT Live, because you get to hang with me, your PR princess, your timeless elite, Stone Cold Courtney, whatever you want to call me. You can always follow me on my socials on @CourtneyNJ11. I'm going to be posting content in the coming weeks. Wednesdays, you already know, it's Timeless Elite Wednesdays, because even though my leading lady is out of commission, it's still going to be Timeless Elite Wednesday. And I'm going to make sure it continues, because Tony would say, the show must go on. That's all you have to say. The show must go on. And plus, I have some other people that I get to support, because I get to see my other ladies, the Brawling Birds, wrestling on Wednesday on Dynamite. So I'm very excited for that. Like I said, friendly reminder, Dynamite is on Wednesday. Shout out to the rest of our WWT team. I know Boss Lady and Will, they were on a cruise. I'm hoping they had a wonderful cruise, and looking forward to seeing some of the shenanigans that happen when they come back this week. Shout out to my other siblings, Honey, Dion, and also Will on the Kayfabe podcast. I'm sure they're going to have a lot of stuff happening this Thursday, where they talk about SmackDown, Raw, and NXT happening in the coming days, and also bringing us the road to WrestleMania in a couple weeks. Jeffrey, Monday night. Maybe, but Monday nights aren't my thing. Wednesdays are going to be my thing, because we're going to be in Canada for the next 2 weeks. We're going to be in Canada. So very excited on that. And like I said, shout out to the rest of the team, WWE team, because I know all of us schedules are a bit crazy, but we make sure to keep the lights on, because we want to entertain you. But shout out to everybody. Zach Minger, Eric Isaac, Jeffrey, Jonathan Lambeg, Boza, Cousin Ron, Lynette. Also a shout out to our producer from the future, Dylan, for posting all the clips that are happening on socials over the weekend, because we do have some great clips. But yeah, make sure to follow ISBW Wrestling. Shout out to Tommy Fierro and the rest of the team. They got amazing events happening in the coming weeks, so you do not want to miss it. But that wraps up Monday's edition of Women's Wrestling Talk. And also, we're almost ending with Women's History Month. But thank you all for joining us on a Monday edition as we get ready for a jam-packed Monday Night Raw at Madison Square Garden. And thank you all for supporting Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Have a great evening, and see you guys on Wednesday.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.